want to raise capital, it's easy. I know the market. I have the team in place. It's easy to raise money if I want to go down that route. Or like, brokers, you know, your property manager, they manage other properties, apartments, they can send you deals. It gets easier. The game gets easier and easier the longer you've been doing it. So like my next deals in Oklahoma will be easier. The deals after that, even easier. So it just gets easier and easier and easier the more you're
Right.
doing the same thing.
Right. Did you kind of purposely research Oklahoma, or did you just get to happen that by chance your first deal, or did you kind of research other other areas also?
Yeah. So for me, I was looking in like the Midwest, Southeast, because it's just cheaper.
Right.
Because I could see apartment complexes for like around $1 million. And I just
Right.
thought, wow, a single family home in, our markets is
California.
1 million, but I
Yep.
can get like a 20, 30 unit in the Southeast, Midwest for, about $1 million. So I just thought,
Right.
okay, like I'm comfortable in that $1 million range.
Right.
So it made sense. So I started researching markets. So I look at three metrics when choosing my market. So the first one is there job growth?
Upward. Mm-hmm.
Obviously where we're at, very tech focused, right? So it's cyclical, but there's
Right.
jobs. And
Right.
where there's jobs, that's going to lead to population growth, which is going to lead to rental demand, right? And then after that, you want to make sure it's crime's not too bad.
Yeah.
So my mobile home park, the mistake that I made, if I were to make one, it's too much crime. More crime than I would like.
Right.
Right. So never compromise location, right? Like I made, location, location, location. I hear that. I made the mistake. But never compromise crime, right? Don't step away from it. And it's not even worth it. The stress, the headache, don't do it. Right. Um, so I look at those metrics and then I just started looking, obviously I was looking like Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas. And then, what came across Oklahoma was I just had a really good property manager there. Obviously, it's a little more landlord friendly there compared to California, and it was just really cheap. Like I could buy, apartment complex for $500,000, get $700 in rent, and I just thought, just learn here, and if eventually it didn't work out, I can end up just selling my apartments over there and 1031 exchange into California where I'm at.
Right.
Obviously, I know my market because I live
Right.
here.
Right.
But just knowing that, California, it's not going to be as much cash flow, but obviously there's a demand for renters. There's
Right.
always a demand for renters, like
Right.
regardless of where I'm at in California,
Right.
your minimum rent's going to be like $2,000 at this point because it's cheaper to rent in our market than it is to buy.
Right.
So, that's how I chose my market. But I just say choose where you have unfair advantage. If you have a great property manager somewhere, that's a good place to start. If you have a great real estate agent or broker that can bring you great deals there, that's a good place to start. If you're a great general contractor, it's a good place to start. So I just say know where you have an unfair advantage at, and then you can start with there. So
Sure.
usually unfair advantage is obviously your market, but
Sure.
if it's too expensive, then go somewhere where you have people and they can refer you. So it's pretty simple. I know people overcomplicate it. Like people are like, oh, I've been stuck picking my market for the past 5 years. And I'm like, once you start making offers, like you'll learn about a market fast.
Right.
And once you start talking to brokers, once you start talking to property managers, you'll learn about the market. That's how I learned about Oklahoma. Like it's a lot simpler than you think. It's you just ask people. It's easier than our jobs, right? Like I'm a
Right.
pharmacist,
Right.
like just ask a question and it's not rocket science. Like, okay, it's a good area. The rent's $700. Okay, renovate it. It's like 10,000 is what you do. Like, it's not rocket science. Like most people investing in real estate usually drop out of college, right?
Right.
That's why they're doing it. And, I have a doctorate level degree. So, I'd hope I'd understand at least a high level about real estate. If I'm smart enough to get my doctorate degree, I'm pretty sure I can understand real estate. At the end of the day, it's a little box that you make sure it's a nice functional box that people will pay you rent for. And that's about it. So, yeah, don't overcomplicate it. Like I said, obviously you have a duplex in Dallas. I know we're getting hit with insurance this year. My insurance went up.
Insurance went up. Yeah.
Yeah, my insurance for my 20 unit went up by $5,000. It
Wow.
went from 20,000 to 25,000.
Mhm.
And I shopped it around, and that was still the best price. And most of the people were telling me, "You're lucky they even wanted to renew you, because some places will not even renew you at all."
Right.
So, I feel very fortunate on that end. So, that's why I said pick wherever you have unfair advantage. I know Dallas is popular, market. Obviously, if you have advantage there, then leverage that advantage. If not, then just start looking at other markets and just underwrite properties on LoopNet. All deals on LoopNet are terrible, but if you type in Dallas, Texas, filter multifamily, you can analyze all those apartment complexes. And it'll give you a sense of like how much it's going to cost on the high end.
Right.
Right. Because LoopNet's always overpriced. So like when I was going on LoopNet, I'd see everything would be like $60K per door. So I would know, okay, if it's $60K per door, probably a good price would be $50K per door. And if I want to buy under margin, I need to buy under $40K per door. So, like it just underwriting those deals helps you learn. And then it also helps you connect with the brokers. And they might teach you a thing here and there, but they may not take you seriously because you don't own any multifamily yourself.
Right.
But, like I talked to some brokers and, learned a little bit. And, I jokingly say the number one thing I learned about talking to brokers, they don't really know much. So, and they make you broke, right? You trust a broker, they make you broke, right? Like I trusted a broker in my mobile home park, and guess what? He's making me broke. Only he made money on the deal. I'm not making money. He made more money on the deal than I made, and he did nothing. So, yeah, I just would say just start analyzing Dallas. Go on LoopNet, look at some deals, see if it makes sense in your price range for multifamily. It's okay to start with like 10 units. To be honest, managing a 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit, 10-unit, it's all the same.
You're right.
It's literally the same amount of work.
Right.
When you start getting to like 30, even 26, when you're starting to get to like, I think 50 plus, where, you have like renovation teams, that's when it gets a little bit harder. Like I was managing like 3 renovation teams, I think at one point.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I had 5 guys on my mobile home park. I had like 3 on my 26 unit and like 1 guy on my 20 unit. My 20 unit guy, it was a 1-man team, and he would renovate all my units, believe it or not. But he was fast. He literally would like stay there like 12 hours a day, just working on it, go home, and then sleep and then come back. I told him, you can sleep in my apartment. Yeah, you can spend the night there if you want. I don't care. But yeah, like I'll be honest, whether it's a 10-unit, it's the same amount of work. Speaking from experience. So, if you're intimidated, maybe just try to get a 10. And what's nice about targeting the 5 to like, I call it 5 to like 30 range, it's mom and pop owners. So it's just like people like me, or it's just one person. It's not a big syndication, it's not a big corporation. So you can really talk to them. If you have a broker, you lose that communication. But what I teach is I send out direct mail. They reach out to me, and I'm able to talk to the owner directly. And that's how you build trust, right? Like sometimes they just want to know who you are. They manage the property for 20 years, and they just want to know like who they're selling the property to. They don't necessarily care about getting the best price. Obviously, if you bring it to a broker, they're going to jack up the price.
Right.
They just want to know who's owning it, and yeah, like some brokers are sleazy, unfortunately, and you get burned, and maybe you don't want to work with a broker. So like for me, I don't want to, if I can cut the broker out of the equation,
right,
I prefer talking to you directly because I can understand your goals, your pain points, and your motivations. And you can get to know me too, right? And like I do what I say. This is how I'm going to do it. Then I'll tell them like, hey, if I take over your loan, you can come check out the property as often as you want. Just let us know. My property manager can show you the units. I can show you my financial statements if you want to see it. I'm an open book, whatever, right? You're the bank.
right.
You become the bank. If the bank asks me for my profit and loss statement, I'm going to show the bank my profit and loss statement. So, just, be trustworthy and hold your word, and you'll be surprised. Like I had, some real estate investors, they will like disappear on the day of closing. Like who does that? Like I never thought a real estate investor would disappear on the day of closing. Like, okay, that's unprofessional. You're going to lose your earnest money deposit. But like, who does that? Right? Like, why would you disappear on the day of closing? But there's a lot of unsophisticated, real estate investors, unsophisticated real estate brokers. And if you can kind of put yourself as a professional, we're obviously working professionals, so act like a working professional, right? I have a doctorate level degree. I should act and handle myself as if I have a doctorate level degree, as if I'm a professional. And if you just do that, believe it or not, you're already better than 95% of the people out there.
Right.
If you have the money and you're professional, you're already better than 95% of the people there. That's how I was able to close on my deals smoothly. And I would communicate with them regularly. Hey, title company is running behind. We were supposed to close, today, but they need one more week. I will keep you posted. Just updates, right? Like brokers are terrible at communication. Like they never tell me anything. I have to like call them, right? When working with a broker. But for me, I'm proactive. I'll tell them, hey, expect this as a heads up. And people don't care. They just want to know what's going on, right? Not knowing makes people angry and stressed. If you tell them something, even though it's not what they want to hear, at least they know and they're not as angry or stressed.
Right.
Right? I learned that managing pharmacists for 10 years, right? That's a hack I learned. Just tell them so they know. And I tell my broker, even if you have no update, just tell me no update and I will have no stress. Even if it's no update, right? But
Right.
95% of brokers are not that way. So that's why I said like they'll never be as good. So that's I leverage that. If I go, let's say I want to buy something from you directly, I'll tell you, hey, I work the brokers. They're terrible to work with.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
How
Yeah.
did you get the contact or the email of the person who's selling the property? Because does it say on LoopNet or I don't know?
No. So you could. I mean, obviously, it's all public information, right? You can go to the county tax assessor's record, but I use a software called PropStream. It's $100 a month.
PropStream.
Yeah. If you go on my YouTube channel, I have I think some videos going over PropStream.
Okay.
But basically it's $100 a month, and I can type in Seattle, Washington, filter all the apartment complexes, and I have a list of all the apartment owners and their address, and you can send them letters. But if you want their phone number, if you want their email, you have to skip trace it, which costs money. And then at that point, you can find their phone number, find their email, and all that. So that's a way to reach out to them. But for me, I like letters because I work a W-2, I'm busy, but it gets annoying when people cold call you, they cold text you. Technically, it's illegal to cold text somebody without permission. Or cold email. I get so many of those cold calls from my apartment complexes, and it gets so annoying. But for letters, I send you the letter. It's up to you if you want to respond to me. And if you do spend the effort to call me, text me, or email me, you're probably more motivated and wanting to sell versus somebody that I just cold call on the phone.
That's right.
So for me, it does cost more money, obviously, but I just had more success, and it just works for my schedule a little bit better. Like I'm gonna send you the letter. It's up to you. You want to call me, and sometimes people throw that letter into like a little cupboard, and then like 6 months later, they're cleaning out their cupboard and they see it and like, oh, I want to sell to this guy now, and they called me, and like literally, I bought his apartment complex, not too long after. And what's nice about getting to know these owners is you can say, hey, like, sorry, my offer didn't work out for you, but do you know anyone else that's selling? Because real estate investors, people who own apartments, know other people who own apartments. So that's how you kind of build your network, and that's how you get off-market deals. So, and I tell my property manager that too, like, hey, if any of your sellers are in a bad situation, or any of your owners that you're managing the property for are in bad situations, or you think they want to sell, I'm open to buying. Right? Bring me the deal. Let's make an offer. So yeah, it's just kind of that personal touch. And like I said, like it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but I stack on one of these deals, like one deal a year. That's a lot. 30 units. Imagine like 30 units every year. Like that's a lot of real estate that you can do with. So if you kind of have that mindset of like just getting 1 or 2 good deals, every like 3 years, like it's okay when people don't like say yes to you immediately, but that one deal you do get, it can change everything for you and your family. So, it just requires a lot of patience and resilience. And that's why I beat up most people, to be honest. I'm not talented. I'm just persistent, and I follow up. And, if I say, hey, I'm going to follow up with you in a week, then I put it on my calendar and I make sure I follow up with them in a week. So it's just that persistence, and they can tell, right? They can tell if you're sophisticated and how you present yourself and how you handle your business, and it definitely sticks out. And I thought I was normal, but I found out that I'm like the 1%, where apparently I'm abnormal, which probably makes sense why I bought so much real estate in a short span of time. So, but in my mind, I thought it was nothing special. I thought this is how everyone conducted business, because that's how I thought a business person should conduct themselves as. But find out that I'm the only person doing this this way. So yeah, once I learned that I'm the 1%, then I'm not even stressed anymore. I'm like, I'll find a deal. When I'm ready to buy real estate, I know I can find a deal in a year. No rush. I'm not going to make an offer on a deal out of desperation. I'm not going to sell a property out of desperation. I'm not going to do anything out of desperation, because I know that if this doesn't work out, I'll find 10 other deals eventually that may work out. So, you know, if you kind of have that mindset, that's how you kind of, that's why they say really it's mindset, honestly. If you listen to all podcasts, anything you do, it's all mindset at the end of the day, and taking consistent action and just doing something for a long period of time. And you'll, if you make 5 offers a week, every week for 10 years, I guarantee you'll have a large real estate portfolio. So, you know, that was kind of my rant there. Any other questions?
No, I think that was the great talk, Steve. I learned a lot. I learned a lot today. Yes. And I really appreciate you being open about it, because there are very, very few people who will tell you, you know, what happened to them and the mistakes. And, you know, this is a great opportunity for other novices, you know, to learn and, you know, get their acts better. You know, when people talk openly, this is a excellent learning experience.
Yeah. If you check out my other YouTube channel videos, I'm very transparent. Like, you know, a lot of the podcasters and YouTubers, they never talk about how they fail. They just talk about, like, they would, like for me, it would do that. Oh, I bought 80 units in 8 months. I'm impressed.
Right.
Me,
Yeah.
Right? But I'm the guy that's saying, don't do it. I did it. Yes, I did do it. But this is all the stress it caused me. These are all the mistakes I made. And I think that content was missing. And, you know, I joined mentorship programs where I paid $15,000 to join, to learn. And, you know, I like, no one, even they weren't telling me that type of stuff. Like, I'll tell you, if you buy an apartment complex, the moment you take over, you're going to have 5 tenants not pay you. And whatever cash flow you underwrote on your little spreadsheet, it's out the window. The moment 5 people stop paying you, your cash flow is gone. So have the reserves and anticipate it and know it. Right. And that's what kind of inspired me too, to kind of create my own mentorship, create my own course. Because like, I'm just like, I felt like the education was so lacking. And I'm like, you know, people were teaching it. They used to invest like 20 years ago. But like, I'm literally in the weeds doing it today. Like, I did a cash out refinance like in the past month. I'm in the process of selling my mobile home park. I'm literally renovating just today. I ripped out the face board of my 26 unit, and I added like a new face board and painted it, and it cost me $4,000. I just did that today. Right? So that's how you really learn. And, you know, just learning from people one step ahead of you. And that's why I say you have to choose your teachers carefully, because like a lot of people will not. I'm the reverse. I don't talk about the good I've done. I'll tell you every way I messed up. And, you know, unfortunately, some people don't listen when it's free. People only listen when they pay you a little bit.
Right.
But if you can, you know, take the information for free, yeah, I saved you $15,000, right? Don't have to join a mentorship and don't have to go through all that. And, you know, obviously, even despite learning from me, you're probably gonna make mistakes. But what's nice too is if you share your mistakes with me, I learn from you.
Right.
So that's the type of community that I'm trying to start. So that's why I do these channels. I record it and I upload it so others can learn as well. So yeah, check out a lot of my other videos. I share a lot about like mindset, about owning mobile home parks, apartments, everything. Like, I know I'm 100% open book, so others can learn, because I feel like that's just lacking in a lot of the information out there. No one's that open, that transparent, and a lot of people don't even know, because they're just like a syndicator and they just do marketing. They just memorize a PowerPoint and regurgitate the same PowerPoint 100 times. And if you ask them, oh, so how much does it cost to replace the kitchen? They can't tell you. Right. I'll tell you, replacing a kitchen will cost just materials like about $1,500 in Oklahoma. If I just want to paint it, you know, it's roughly half that cost. Right. So, you know, you can tell easily who it is. So a lot of people that take my course, they're just kind of like, oh, like by going through your course, I realized that I don't want to own apartments myself, but I know enough to vet a syndicator that I want to invest with. And I just said, yes, just by you spending some money and realizing you don't want to do it, that's worth more than, imagine you buying an apartment complex yourself and you make every mistake in the book. That's going to cost you way more than that cost of education. Or if you just choose a syndicator, let's say your cousin says, hey, I'm going to syndicate. You trust your cousin, he doesn't know what he's doing, give him money, 50, 60, 100K, they can lose your 100K. I'm like, well, how'd you spend a couple thousand to educate yourself? You can at least have enough knowledge to get a baseline to vet people, right? So that's what I'm trying to do with my channel too, where I give a lot of stuff for free, open book, 100% transparent. Only difference between that and my course is just more structured. It's organized. My videos, I'm just talking to people like you who want to learn, and I'm answering questions and sharing my experience. So it's a little bit more scatterbrained, but at the end of the day, the information is the same. It's out there, and it's just a matter of like, do you apply it? And even myself, I need sometimes to take my own advice. Like, you know, some of my students are teaching me stuff I taught them and reminding me. It's kind of funny sometimes because I'm so emotional in the moment, I forget myself. So it's nice to even have a community where we're kind of like looking out for each other and doing that. So that's what I love about this and that. So glad that it definitely feels good that, and thank you for sharing that. It is valuable because that's what I'm basically trying to do, is just teach people. That's my true passion, to be honest, is teaching people. You know, it's my healthcare background inside of me. So I just really love to teach people and help people, you know, buy apartment complexes, or maybe help them realize that maybe it's not for them. That's fine too. So, so cool. Well, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thank you. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah. All right. Hope to see you next week.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.